Hello, the internet, and welcome once again to another episode of Bill Has Opinions, your cat Miss Bill Shit. I'm Laura Lavoie, and I'm here with Bill Perkins.
Hey.
Who has opinions.
Yeah.
And it's ostensibly, it's eponymously your show, so.
Eponymously, yeah, I guess so, but, but I wouldn't do it if.
Not posthumously your show.
I mean, it will be one day, but I wouldn't do it, even though my name's on the show. I wouldn't do it if you weren't here,
That I don't know what that actually says about you.
That I don't know, that I'm lazy or something. I would still have opinions.
Right. You just want to be putting them live on the internet.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You facilitate the whole technology part of it.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. So we were here last week. It feels still since we definitely have a before the storm and after the storm situation. Even though you were here a week ago, like it feels like it was 6 months ago.
Sure. Yeah.
Time has no meaning anymore.
Time's gotten goofy. It really has. It's kind of like COVID or whatever. We keep just having things after things. Oh man, it's like we can't catch a break, and just get some forward momentum and feel like things are, anyway.
Well, I mean, at least with COVID, the entire world was dealing with it too. But now the news cycle has moved on, and Asheville's like, yeah, whatever. They had a storm. But we're living it.
Yeah.
But I mean, well, we'll get to the. We really only have one headline today, so we'll get to that in a minute. But actually, let's do that now, and then we'll get to the other thing because we got plenty of time. So let's do this. So the biggest headline is that Asheville, North Carolina, now has potable water.
Oh yeah. Everybody's drinking out of the tap again.
We're all very excited.
Bunch of maniacs. Be like this is the best thing since.
Look, we have real pint glasses instead of plastic cups.
That's true. Yeah, and I do appreciate that. I can take or leave because I'm like, bottled water, tap water, or whatever. I mean, I guess ice cubes though. That's nice. And,
ice cubes is nice.
And but clean glasses. I hate when I go somewhere and I pay like $7 or more for beer and it comes in a plastic cup because I'm like, I don't know. It just seems, I'm not at a frat party, man. Well, this is a nice place.
Yeah, during a non-disaster time, I don't disagree with you unless certain circumstances. But what I mean?
Like sometimes you'll go to a big event,
right?
And they just don't want to deal with it.
Right?
So they give you the fucking plastic, and I'm just like, fuck with this, I like my beer in a nice glass.
I do prefer it.
I want to bring my own glass and be like, here, this,
You can bring. We have a boot. You could bring the boot with you.
You can bring the
time.
boot with, Yeah. Well, like you guys. So to that end, you guys went to the Ren Fair. You said, right?
Oh yeah, we went to the Renaissance Festival on Saturday.
Yeah.
It was Time Travelers Weekend at the Carolina.
I assumed it was because of your costumes. I mean, you could do that whenever.
Sure.
But I know that they have a specific thing for it now.
Yeah. So basically a cosplay event for all forms.
They have several. I mean, they do several. They've got like a pirate weekend.
Yeah, they do. But Pirate Weekend fits in with the general milieu of a they say Renaissance, but it's really medieval. Like it's none of it makes sense.
Well, it's
really
more fantasy fair than anything.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, because there's so much stuff that's
right.
Everybody's got elf ears and shit.
Exactly. And I've been dressing up for Renaissance Festival since I was a kid. Mm-hmm. I love them. I mean, it's one of my first forays into cosplay.
I like them, but I haven't been in 2 years because the last time I went, I got stuck in traffic for 4 hours, and I just haven't gotten over it yet.
Go early as shit, man.
I know, but
we left here at 7 o'clock in the morning.
We just haven't had a weekend to be able to go, and then of course they've got to think about it. They've been selling out.
It's absolutely.
It's been nuts. Yeah. They'll tell you on Thursday, they're like, we sold out for the weekend. Don't bother to come over here if you don't have tickets already. Yeah, they won't sell them at the door. You have to have already got a ticket.
Absolutely. And that's one thing if you live within 10 minutes, but we live 2 hours away.
Yeah.
So you got a real 2.5 hours away. You got to
plan to do the thing. Exactly. Yeah.
So we planned it. We bought tickets, but Time Travelers Weekend, we wore our Star Trek uniforms. We were very proud of ourselves. We saw multiple Star Trek people.
Yeah.
It was very fun. But I did. Well, I was.
Did you see Doctor Who also?
Yes, lots and lots.
Okay.
And a few other, randomly non-Renaissance fair type costumes, right?
Okay.
But I got because I was wearing a red shirt, a red outfit. I got a lot of "you're going to die."
Yeah,
it's fine. But then we got a lot of "aren't you violating the Prime Directive?" which I expected. But yeah, we got a lot of attention.
Expected to violate the Prime Directive.
Well, I expected people to say it because
I'm here to violate the Prime Directive.
I am literally here to violate. I'm here to drink beer and eat funnel cake or whatever I ate. Oh no, chimney cake.
Chimney cake.
Have you had the chimney cake?
I don't know what this is. It's a new thing, huh?
Shit, no, they've been there a while.
I don't remember this at all.
I
know the giant turkey leg and the
the
bread bowl with the soup.
Chimney cake, motherfucker, if you go there, you must have one. Make a beeline for it because we get there really early and it's a breakfast. I mean, it doesn't have to be a breakfast food, but it's a Transylvanian thing. And basically it's dough, like pizza dough, basically, wrapped around a wood, like large rolling pin. And then it's cooked over an open flame and basted with butter. And then it's rolled in a topping, and we got cinnamon sugar. Okay. And holy shit, it's good. It's a lot of bread, but it's delicious.
Well, I mean, especially after a couple beers, I imagine it would be really good.
Well, no, we go there. You
have this first.
Yeah, we have it first. We go
I wouldn't eat it first. I'd go get drunk first, and then I'd have the beer. Then I'd have the bread,
Because we go to not the first coffee stand, because when you get right in the door, that coffee stand is really busy. Yeah. So you go all the way back to the back.
Yeah, that's where I go for beer too.
Yes. And then
my favorite beer spot is the one by the jousting. That's the one you're like in and out of. Like, I don't know why, but they're quick as shit. Yeah. Like, and is it still Foothills beer?
Yeah, okay. Still Foothills. Yeah. Which I guess we should bring us to our next segment, right? No, it's good times. We should do it. But also we don't always talk about our beers these days, so only when we have something to talk about. But at the Renaissance Festival, in some places, you can get this. Yeah. Which is the Foothills Pumpkin Ale.
What's the one? Is it called Shine or something like that? Something Shine. I don't remember now, but I drink a lot of that when I go because it's
they have several. And if you go to the right,
I think it's just their like Kolsch or lager or some shit. Sure. I don't know, but it's really good. I drank the shit out of it.
Foothills makes some good beer. So I'm drinking. So this segment is going to tell you that we are currently transitioning our taste buds to the chimney cakes is a standalone vendor, so it's not a fair food stand.
Thousand Smiles is what I'm thinking of.
Smiles, yeah.
Golden Ale.
They had the golden ale. Yeah.
I drank a lot of that last time I was there.
So the chimney cakes is a standalone vendor, so it's not like one of the fair food stands. Thing. Okay. But it's, oh my god, it's so good. But anyway, we're drinking some beers.
You're drinking that. I am finishing up a Saranac pumpkin ale, which is a good mix. You probably in the past you guys have heard me talk about my rubric for pumpkin beers, right? And where I like them to be. I want them to taste a little bit pumpkiny and a little bit spicy and a little bit beery. And this one does a good job of meeting all those criteria.
And I feel the same about the Foothills pumpkin. Yeah. I think it's a good blend of all of it. But not that I'm saying this will be our last fall beer this season. I think we're kind of mixing it. Sure. Because then both of us have. Yeah. Now, for our next beer, the ever popular Highland Brewing Company Cold Mountain Spiced Winter Ale. Yeah. It comes out every year. This time of year, they change the recipe ever so slightly every year. So it's like a fun little surprise.
Hey, what will it be?
Get the flavor.
Yeah, I think 1 year in the recent times I've been like, but mostly I like it. I walked past it. Like I told her, I already had another 6-pack in my hand. I had gone to the store because I had this pumpkin beer. I had 6 of these already at the house, and I was like, I need something else, like non, beer flavored beer, just to have to drink, because sometimes you don't want a flavored beer. Sure. And I went to the store to get some more beer, and I had myself a 6-pack of something. I don't remember what it was now. I think it was probably a German beer. Something like Warsteiner or something. Sure. I had a 6 of that, and I was walking, and then I passed this like giant display of the Cold Mountains. I was like, well, You know,
I guess.
yeah. So that's what happened.
So we have both had the Cold Mountain this year, and so every year again, like, it's almost like a scavenger hunt to like see the flavor, and it's usually described similarly. It's notes of vanilla, hazelnut, dark fruit, and cinnamon. So and sometimes it's a little bit different, but those are kind of the primary flavors usually. But this year, I think we had. So, what was your first impression of it?
Hazelnut was the first thing I tasted. Which hazelnut to me tastes like Dr. Pepper or something, like the Rogue hazelnut porter is a very drinkable beer to me, but it has like sort of the same flavor profile as Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, like it has. Yeah, it's got a little bite to it.
Yeah, a little bitey, but also like sweet. Anyway, I think I've got like a sensitivity to things with hazelnut in them, and so when I taste hazelnut, like it bounces on me. I'm like, woo, that's got some hazelnut, and then I tasted like the cinnamon second, I think, and then on the close I noticed the vanilla, and if there's other stuff in there, I mean, it says dark fruit, which is usually like currants or like it's plum, and I don't taste the fruit at all. I don't taste any fruit. There ain't no fruit in there.
But yeah, for me, the primary taste was that cinnamon.
Yeah.
I got, because it's way less sweet than it has been in previous years. And I get like the dryness of the cinnamon, which I think gives it, that's what makes it less sweet. Like it almost gives it, I don't like to use the word hoppy because obviously it's not hoppy. I mean, it has hops because all beer does, but not hoppy, but like that dry cinnamon flavor.
Yeah, I got you.
But I love it. This has been one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, I've had one. There was one. I always want to think it's like 2016 was my favorite year ever, where it was just like very like nutmeggy and vanilla. Like it just tastes
perfect spice blend.
Yeah, it just did it right for me that year. Although now I'd probably drink that and be like, that's too sweet. Like
right, exactly. It's hard to know because we don't save them, so it's not like we
did that one year.
We did the one year.
I had the one that rolled around in the trunk of the car all year.
For a year, and then we happened to have one that was in the fridge. That was a great experiment though, because
we learned that like heat doesn't
temperature doesn't affect beer.
No, it doesn't.
Because they tasted identical. Ours had been in the fridge for
it's exposure to air or light that will
make a difference.
I think exposure to air, as we were talking about earlier.
Oh yeah.
Your or skunked up lines or whatever.
Absolutely.
Like that'll do it, but probably not. Like I said, if I'd opened the bottle and let it roll around in the trunk.
Oh well, first of all, you'd have a mess in your trunk.
I'd have a trunk full of spoiled beer. But
your car would have smelled bad for a while. It would have smelled good at first.
Yeah, I'd be like,
and then
Christmas.
then it would have gotten very sour very fast. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I hate when you're like you dump out the recycle bin.
Oh,
and it's just got the residual little tiny bits of. And I even rinse my bottles out, but once in a while I guess I'm kind of like lazy in the rinse or something.
Right. I mean, you don't always do the best job.
And then you still like you go to dump out the recycle bin and you're like, pew-wee, boy.
That's why I even tell you that's one of my favorite parts about not living in Michigan anymore. Because in Michigan, you've got the deposit, so you have to take your cans to recycle them. Like you take them to get your deposit
at least
back.
you got something for it.
Oh my God, but it's so gross. It is the grossest job because no matter how you sort them and it's always sticky and it always smells bad.
Yeah,
and I hate it
does.
So
it
much.
always stinks,
So much. All right, we're gonna move on to our next segment.
Alrighty.
But before we do that, part of me's like, we should promote other local businesses.
We'll do that.
Well, I mean,
we will
buy from local businesses.
I'll say that.
Sure,
I'll say it.
But at the same time, Bill Has Opinions is a local business.
It's true,
and we still really want to get a new camera.
Yeah,
the hurricane didn't change that.
Yes. Yeah, it didn't get like one didn't blow over here from someone else's house.
Right. Right. It did not float up the river.
You didn't wind up with a trampoline or anything.
Did not. No.
I was reading a thing one time. It's like if you have a trampoline and then during a storm it disappears, you didn't have a trampoline. Don't worry about it. Like don't go looking for it because you don't want the grief from wherever it landed.
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly.
Just let them have it.
But if you're inclined, I mean, they make great presents, right? We've got a whole line of Bill Has Opinions merch. So you can get our t-shirts, of course, with the classic logo and the new logo. But then also our entire Stay Shitty line of products. My current favorite is the Stay Shitty Matey, but you can get Stay Shitty My Lord, Stay Shitty My Lady, and Stay Shitty Good Noble, and of course the Matey. So please buy them for yourself or your friends. Yeah, that's what they make great stocking stuffers.
Sure they do. Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
do they? You can put them in a stocking.
If they're rolled up. I mean, you wouldn't want to like cram them in there because then you'd have a lousy your poster would be fucked.
Yeah.
I mean, unless that's what I don't know. It could be an aesthetic.
I mean, but you can buy a mug. You can buy all kinds of things.
That's true. You could buy.
I have every possible item that you can get.
That's true.
You can get.
Yeah.
You want a shower curtain? You can get that.
Oh yeah, I can see that. Yeah. You're sitting there and you look over and the shower curtain says "Stay Shitty."
Yeah,
I got it. It works on a coffee mug too because coffee gets you going.
That's true. That's true.
You know?
So anyway, scan this QR code. Go buy our merch. We'd appreciate it. All we want is a new camera. Literally. After that, we'll stop telling you to buy it.
Yeah, nobody will mention this ever again.
Maybe. I don't know. But so yeah, there's that. And so let's get into our next segment. All right. So this comes from the idea behind the next 15 minutes of our show. Comes from something you were going to say last week.
Oh, yeah. I didn't mention a thing.
We didn't get around
to it. Yeah. But it's something I noticed. Okay, so I've got a bunch of friends on Facebook who, I mean, and listen, yeah, that election was bullshit. Like, I'm not going to deny it. It totally was. And we're all still reeling from it. And I get there's some indignation and whatever, and man, isn't this some shit? And definitely it sucks. But that being said, I got quite a few friends who are like, "Ugh, can you believe this shit is happening? And this is the worst thing ever. And
we're not going to live through this.
Yeah, we're not going to live through this. This is like, and everybody who's doing that, everybody who's doing that, I promise you 100% in my feed is a white cis het man. And I'm kind of like, meaning, like,
yeah, it sucks. It sucks balls.
It sucks balls, but
a lot.
like you're not the target really. So it's like, I mean, I get it because I don't know, because you feel like I'm used to shooting my mouth off, I guess, and having like strong opinions or whatever the fuck, and like maybe now I should shut the fuck up because somebody's gonna come kill me for it.
Well, and you feel a little powerless, like a lot of the white folk that aren't marching in the street with swastikas, are feeling a little powerless.
Sure, okay, but I'm just saying, like, I try to put it into some perspective, right? And I've been doing this since before it happened because it's kind of like, before it happened, like it's gonna happen.
It could happen.
This is where I feel like this is where it's going. So, anyways, I have come. I'm the kind of person where, I know I have my opinions and I talk about shit, but at the same time, I've never been the kind of person where I feel like griping and belly aching about shit gets anything done. Like it doesn't accomplish anything. So I'm not like, I'm one of those people like. My wife said the other day she's the man in the relationship because like, well, when she's sick, you'll know she's fucking sick. And when I'm sick, I'm just gonna keep it to myself and like just go fucking lay down and I'll either die or I'll get better or whatever. That's what's gonna happen. Like I'll see in a day or two and then I'm like, all right, but I don't spend all day walking around going, oh, I'm so sick, baby. Which I hear a common like trope that men do that or something. I don't do it. I don't see the point in it. Listen, it's not going to change whatever pain I'm in, right? Like, my elbow aches or whatever the fuck. Me belly aching about it ain't going to make it hurt any less,
Right.
So I'm just like, I guess I'll drink or something, and maybe it'll
Yeah, I would argue, this is an aside, but I would argue if you don't feel well, maybe drinking is not your best course of action.
Well, it depends on the ailment.
I guess it does.
I mean, but if it's just chronic pain or something, yeah, just fucking drink.
If it's the apocalypse, just fucking drink.
That's what I'm saying. Anyway, I just want to caveat that, like, this is my preface into it, is like, I don't see the point in a lot of griping and grousing. Like, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't accomplish. It's not going to solve the issues, right? And in this particular thing, what is going to solve the issues? I mean, it's kind of like I got to wait a few years to deal with it, right? So, I mean, or I guess you can make a plan. You can plan. You can make, like, here's how we're going to resist. Here's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And worst case scenario or whatever the fuck, make that plan. Sure.
Can you throw me that?
Yeah. Sorry, I keep taking it.
Keep taking it. I want more. I want to drink. Man.
She wants more beer.
Drink.
Anyway, yeah, you can plan. That's proactive. That's what I'm trying to say. I guess is like you can be proactive. You can do the things you can do.
Right.
But this is kind of me doing like the drunk prayer thing, like like
right.
Grant me the serenity to understand what I can change, what I can't change. And so what I'm saying is the shit you can't change, you kind of have to let go. You kind of have to go. I can't. The shit is where it is, right?
Right.
So to that end, what I'm trying to say is, so the people who I know who are like, yeah, this is the worst thing ever, the world's ending, blah blah blah. They're all white cis het men,
right?
And like I said, it affects them, but it only affects them moderately compared to everyone else. And I had this thought going into the whole thing was like, people have lived under regimes that are less than friendly all over the fucking world.
Mm-hmm.
In the history of the world, people still are. There are people in Russia
right now. Yeah.
There are people in Kazakhstan or whatever the fuck. You know what I'm saying? There are people who live in Uganda who are gay.
Right.
There are people who live. I'm not saying Uganda is a terrible place to live, but it probably is if you're gay.
Yeah. Exactly.
And there are people who all over the world. There's places where people, if you're a certain type of person, it's not a good place to be.
Right.
And those people still manage to survive and still manage to find joy. Mm-hmm. And I really want to give you the example of this. This country has never been kind to most people who aren't the white cis het man.
Right.
and yet people find joy. The Native American has found joy in their life. The African American has found joy in their life. To the point of my fucking racist uncle even thinking like, boy, wouldn't it be fun to be a black person and just not have a care in the world?
Oh, Jesus.
And I don't think that's what they...
That's not the message we want to have.
That's what he would say. Because that's what he perceived it. But I was always like, no, I think they're fine. They're like, listen, we can only control the things we can control.
Exactly.
But I can control whether or not I can have a good time. And
exactly. Can I have joy? Absolutely. No, I had a similar conversation with a racist person once where they said, Black people are given too much leeway in our country. And I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? Yeah. No, it's bullshit. No, but you're right.
I think honestly, white people are probably jealous of the amount of joy that Black people are able to find, considering the huge obstacles we put in their way.
Yeah, no, like literally the entire history of Black people in America is like, people talk about slavery like it's Black history, but it's not. It's white history. White people enslaved other people.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happened. But yeah, no, finding joy into that end, into the what we want to talk about for the next 5 minutes is, art. Some of the best art and culture in ever comes out of oppressed and disenfranchised people.
Because pain equals art, right? Like, nobody writes, nobody does their best work when they're having their best times.
Sure.
I mean, it's like, you remember The Cure, okay? The band The Cure.
Yes.
They put out some phenomenal work. And then I remember in the early 90s, Robert Smith got married. And then they put out It's Friday, I'm in Love. And then from there on, it sucked balls. Like everything...
he was happy.
He was happy, and I get it. It's fine. It's fine to be happy, but his work sucked because he had built, an entire, thing on being mopey and shit. And it's like suddenly he's happy, and I get his mood changed or whatever, but it wasn't good for his art. Same thing happened to Rod Stewart. You remember when Rod Stewart was married to that model?
Mm-hmm.
His output during those years sucked ass. And then he got divorced, and he put out this like an old school Rod Stewart album, and it was like something about cigarettes and alcohol or something. And it was like this rocking fucking, like he wasn't doing Tony Bennett anymore. He was like back to being, and I was like, yes, see, that's what happened. That fucker got happy, and his shit got dumb. Billy Joel, when he's in a good mood, he doesn't write shit. He doesn't do fuck all for like a decade and a half. And I don't like Billy Joel anyway. Truth be told, but he did finally release like the first new song in like 2 decades recently,
right, because he has the sadness.
I'm telling you, the sadness is good for work. So
but it's also part of finding joy, right? Like,
sure, in a way, like, it's cathartic.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously there's so many examples from the Black community in America, but I mean, the one that I keep coming back to is jazz.
Yeah.
Like, jazz is...
it was born out of oppression, yeah.
But it's joyful, and
yes,
it's exciting, and it's... Yeah, and then the other big one that I, often refer to is drag, the art of drag. It came from the queer community feeling out of place and unaccepted, and they found joy in creating an art form that has now become mainstream. But the problem with it becoming mainstream is that now a new target is on the back of the queer community.
Sure, yeah. Now there's pushback against it. Although it's funny to me because I bet you, some of it's performative almost, the pushback, I feel like.
Oh, the pushback for sure.
I feel like, for all the people who are like, those drag queens are trying to read to my children at the library. I mean, a great many of them on a Friday night would be perfectly happy going to a fucking drag show and having a good time.
Right, but for some reason they're like, it's at a library and for children, even though literally
like nothing's happening. Like they're not like, it's not like, I haven't been to one drag show ever where like, somebody like took their top off and jiggled their tits or something, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I mean, it's, yeah.
That's not what they're doing at the library is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, that's never what they're doing at a library. Never.
It's just somebody who looks like an outlandish Dolly Parton reading a fucking book. Right. Clifford the Big Red Dog. Listen, you should be more put out about Clifford the Big Red Dog because I got questions about that fucking shit. First off, how that dog gets so goddamn big. Secondly, where does he shit and piss? He's got to be a fucking menace to the town he lives in. How does the family who owns him afford that?
Yeah.
Like, he's got to eat like, they have to have a fucking government grant to feed that motherfucker.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. He's really big.
I got issues with that. Clifford, like, honestly, that's where the issue is Clifford the Big Red Dog, not the drag queen reading it. I don't care about that.
And there's so many, I did a little research. I mean, not anything, and we don't really have time, but
okay.
Not anything we could go into in depth, but so many things. I mean, you mentioned punk, and I hesitate to say punk came out of oppression, but it at least came out of like the disenfranchisement of youth, right?
Sure. Yeah. Well, okay. So it was born in the late 60s, early 70s in the UK. I do think there was a thing going on because there was an idea in the youth of the UK where they felt like they weren't afforded the same opportunities their parents were.
Right, exactly.
And that's probably what caused it,
exactly.
Right? So and then
at the very least disenfranchised.
When it hit America, of course, it took on a more
capitalist value.
Well, anti-capitalist sort of, if you will, like because it became very. Like all our punk rock in America was like, Reagan sucks.
Oh, sure.
That kind of thing. The Reagan administration was great for punk rock, I'll say,
Yeah, but I think it's really funny to look at punk rock and the Sex Pistols were basically the monkeys of punk rock.
Oh, yeah. They were put together perfectly, to sell a thing because Malcolm McLaurin's wife, Vivian Westwood, was a fashion designer and owned a clothing store, and it was all just basically a big fucking promotion.
Exactly.
For, hey, come buy your spikes and chains over here.
Exactly.
Kind of thing.
But they became a cultural touchstone.
Sure, yeah. It's funny because
out of that movement.
No, yeah, absolutely. It's funny, but I guess that happens. Everything gets usurped in a way.
I mean, so does to bring it back to drag, right? Drag has become way more commercial and I love it because I love the art form of drag. I like to watch every franchise of RuPaul's Drag Race, all 70 million of them. But yeah, it was an underground movement at one point, and now it's become a cultural touchstone.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the movie Paris is Burning?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what makes you've seen it.
Okay. It's a great movie about the ballroom scene, and there's like it's heartbreaking too because in that movie there's a kid that they interviewed, a trans kid that they interviewed, who was beaten to death by the end of the movie.
By the end of the movie, there's like an epilogue that tells you this. It's kind of like the watching the end of a you know how the epilogue of every Spike Lee movie is always like, you know, here's how our culture works, kind of thing, and you're just like, my god,
it was real. It was real. It was happening in the moment.
I definitely recommend it. But also, if you like, to my next point, if you like drag, you should watch a movie with Divine in it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Pick one. My favorite. Hey, Christmas is coming up.
Yeah,
Female Trouble is a Christmas movie.
Absolutely.
I like to say the edgelords who keep saying
Die Hard.
Die Hard. I'm like, that's not far enough. I'll push your buttons even further.
Yeah, Female Trouble.
Female Trouble is your Christmas movie. If you really want to push your parents' buttons or whatever, you know.
Yeah, no, John Waters pushed the envelope as far as what was art.
Yeah.
In the time, you know, when he started making those movies.
Sure.
Right?
And this was back when being gay was illegal, you know, but he put this shit out there, and his movies are, you know, I guess for their day, borderline pornography. Now we'd probably like, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
I don't know. There is some full frontal male nudity in them, which is still kind of like the kind of thing that'll get you an NC-17.
I mean, unless you're forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Okay, but otherwise, if you see a penis, it's like, we gotta rate this really high because we can't see a penis. It make you gay. You know,
somehow.
Even though I see one every time I go to the bathroom.
I think it's the context, right? Exactly. Forgetting Sarah Marshall was a straight movie, so like, whatever.
It's okay then.
Yeah.
Well, no, they usually like even like, you know, any kind of movie where there's like, I mean, I feel like what was the one the Stanley Kubrick movie before he died? You know that. The eyes blind.
Oh, the eyes wide shut.
Shut your eyes, or whatever the fuck.
Shut your eyes. Eyes wide shut. Yeah, no, that one got a little. Yeah, it got a little much.
You know, people are always like, you know, we can't have the penises.
No penises.
Yeah, life is pain. It's true. Anybody tells you different is selling you something, Princess.
That's true. So, and we really only have minutes, but. You know, write some poetry. But I wanted to mention the feminist art movement.
Okay, do it.
Because that was, you know, we could have avoided a lot of this shit if we had ratified the ERA, Equal Rights Amendment, when we were supposed to. We did not, and now women are not citizens, or not human. We're citizens.
Yeah.
We're just not fully human.
Like 3/5 of a human or something.
Basically. So, but the feminist art movement
carrying a human,
only
carrying a case
if you're an incubator.
Yeah.
But the feminist art movement was the idea that art could center women, but not be objectified.
Right.
So, whereas art up to that point was, look at this woman, isn't she sexy? Like, I mean, even as far as like the Rubenesque and all that stuff, like no matter what, women were objectified. The feminist art movement was, here is a woman and she's a person, like not just are men going to look at it.
To double back on that, and this is feminist art, but it's also just art, and it's out of oppression.
Sure.
But like Barbara Kruger, like you remember that whole thing? Like that shit again wouldn't have happened without Ronald Reagan, probably.
Right. Exactly.
You know, like this is all a reaction. You know, and to go back to punk and feminism.
Yeah.
Fucking. What's the group? Goddamn, the Russian punk group, Pussy Riot.
Pussy Riot, yeah.
Yeah, who did time in jail because they're not afraid to say what they fucking feel.
Absolutely.
You know? So, you know, shit happens, man. Like, you know, I'm just telling you, people persist, and you know, find your joy. Like here's the thing, life is short.
Write poetry.
Do you want to spend it being fucking angry? I mean, if you are angry, like channel it into something. I guess is what I'm trying to.
Write poetry, make music,
make art,
make a film.
Do a thing,
Yeah, it's there's a lot of shit going on, but if you can just find some joy and make some beauty, like I think that will go just as far as in the resistance as people who are like frontline resisting.
Yeah, well, it's like, a type of, I mean, it's propaganda, if you will. Like it's fifth column stuff,
Right. Right. it's like protest art or folk music and things that are actually just, look, I got shit to say about this. So yeah. All right. So we are going to call it quits. We may have a short episode, short things that are extra later this week.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, Bill, why don't you take us away?
All righty, I will do that. Bill Has Opinions is engineered and produced by Laura Lavoie. The opinions of Bill are his and his alone, unless they agreed, in which case they agreed. Vice versa. We usually agree, unless we don't,
Yeah, I mean,
Anywho, be sure to like and subscribe on YouTube. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and hashtag Opinion Gang and/or Bill. Can't miss Bill shit.
Yeah.
If you got a question, comment, concern, idea for future show, just something you want to say to us, I don't know, whatever. Hate us, whatever. We don't care. Let us know. Feedback is feedback. Anyways, be sure to buy some of that silly merch. Aforementioned silly merch. And we'll get a new camera, and the show will be slightly better.
Slightly better.
And tune in next week when we'll talk about more stuff.
Yeah, we don't know anymore.
We don't know.
We're not really making a plan. We're not doing themes anymore.
We're not doing the plan stand.
I mean, we're getting to the season where we're probably going to talk about random.
I mean, we'll talk about our Christmas buying guide or something next week or some shit.
All right, folks. We'll talk to you later. Bye, everybody.
Yep.